All right, hello, as you've heard, my name is Daren Herder. I own affiliated Barbers right over here in Taylorsville. It's just the shopping center. Let's see, right next to Ross and TJ Maxx, and there's FedEx on the corner, and then I have 2 doors down from FedEx. So thank you all for having me. I will try to make this as brutally painless as possible on all of you. So hopefully you can get what you need to get out of it, but I appreciate you having me back.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So now I understand that this is career advice, right? Most of you are young entrepreneurs, is that right? Okay, looking to potentially start your own business someday, I'm imagining, maybe, or maybe even work in business. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go through a couple of pros and cons for you, okay? I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what I do, some of my experiences with doing it. That way, if any of you ever think about opening up your own business, you kind of have an idea of some of the pros and cons, do's and don'ts, some of the struggles, challenges, okay? And happy to appreciate it. Thank you. So now, as you know, I'm a barber, all right? So it's pretty cut and dry, right? It used to not be, but it's pretty cut and dry, all right? So what do we do? All right, very simple. Once this pulls up, I'll tell you exactly what we do. Oh. It could be user error. Let's see. There we go. All right. So that's what we do. That's what I do. I got there. Pretty simple. Thank you guys for having me. About that mind here. I told my wife I'd be quick. So, no, so yes, I cut hair amongst many things. As a barber, and for my profession, yes, we cut hair. The hair that looks like that too, you'd be surprised. Nowadays, some of the kids. So now, obviously, that's not all we used to do. Okay. Many of you would be very surprised to find out that we were used heavily in surgery. Okay, so we've done a lot with, especially back in the Middle Ages, that was something that was used too, because you had to prep the body for surgery. All right, so depending on where you were getting surgery at, you might have to get something shaved, your chest, your hair, if you're having brain surgery. We used to work directly with the surgeons. What we used to do is we used to help filter the blood. Okay, so we used to help. Bloodletting is the term that they used back in. They don't really use that anymore. That's a little outdated. But basically, we used to assist with the draining of the old blood, infected blood, and providing new fresh blood for patients. So probably would have gotten paid a lot more if I were a barber back in the day, but we do okay. So just gotta work. So cupping therapy. Is anybody familiar with cupping therapy? Anybody know what that is? Go ahead. You want to?
Well, is it similar to massage cupping? Okay, basically you take a suction cup and you're increasing the circulation by separating the muscle and the skin. It also releases tension.
Yep.
Does a lot of great things. You can break down the fascia between the tissue layers.
Technical terms, like that.
I'm a massage therapist, so.
Oh, there you go. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So exactly, she's exactly correct. Cupping therapy was something that can be used for many different things nowadays. They use it for like pain. It helps with pain. It helps with stress, with relieving stress. It can even help isolate if you have an issue with the muscle, particular muscle tendon. So those are things that we used to do. I'm not too upset that we don't do some of these things anymore, because the schooling would have been a lot more, but yeah, so for your knowledge.
Getting kids to get their hair cut is like pulling teeth sometimes.
Literally, pulling teeth.
You're still there.
Which would have, yeah, it's already bad enough just to get the kids to get their hair cut, trust me, it gets a little crazy. They kick, they scream. We have masks in my shop. So like I know a couple of us, I have a hawk mask. I'm a hawk guy for Marvel character fanatics, and I've got a barber who has a Spider-Man mask. We've got a Venom mask. Sometimes the kids, you'd be surprised, they actually respond a lot better when you put a mask on. They kind of loosen up a little bit, let them play with the clippers, you know, that sometimes helps the kids out too. But when they say barbers, you know, getting their haircut for kids is like pulling teeth. They were not lying. So that's something we used to do. Amputation, you know, is things that we used to do as well. We just used to assist a lot in amputation. Anything that could deal with a direct relation to a surgeon is what we used to do. This one I am so happy we don't do anymore. That is it's brutal.
Oh.
Giving it and getting it is brutal. But and obviously back then shaves, shaves were actually considered like an upper echelon thing to do. If you were getting shaves back in the day, I don't know, have you ever seen A Million Ways to Die in the West, that Seth Rogen film? You ever see that? And, or Seth MacFarlane, excuse me, Seth MacFarlane. Remember how, what's Doogie Howser's real name? Help me out, please.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris, there we go.
Yeah.
He, you know how he was like the mustache guy and they, you know, it was very elegant for people to take care of their mustaches. That was actually what the rich people did, or the wealthy. They are the ones that have the shades, the clean shaven faces, the mustaches. Come on in. So those are other things that used to happen, but it wasn't as popular back in the day as it is now. It's as simple as you can do something at home, you can shave yourself at home, you don't really need me for that. I prefer if you come see us, but you don't necessarily need me for that. And obviously barbers are used individually too by people back in the day, so you could have a particular service done by a barber that you would now have to go to the doctor for. So, you know, neither good nor bad. Today, obviously, we keep some of the same things. We cut hair, men, women, and children, okay? I don't cut animals. I hear it's, you know, a good career to get into, but I stick to the human aspect of things. So I like the interaction, I believe. We also obviously do beards, mustaches, trims, facial hair services. I do massages, scalp massages. I do a lot of different treatments as well. I do long hair, everyone. I've got all different clients from all types of walks of life, I should say. Old, young. Does anybody know what a lineup is? This is a Philadelphia term I was told. Does anybody know what that means?
The cutting of like.
Yep, no, you're right on point. You're on point. So it's just when somebody feels like their edges is all out of whack, like their lines are out of whack. I apologize. I should have shaved for you guys today, but I can't. It's November. I promised my staff I wouldn't shave, so I figured I'd just give it to you guys raw. But whenever you're cleaned up, you see the nice shaving lines, like he's cleaned up really well. Yeah, he's got a good shaving beard. His beard's pretty cleaned up. So whenever you keep it clean, tight, everything looks straight, symmetrical. That's a lineup for those people who aren't from out of Utah and don't know what that means. So,
Do you know what fry sauce is?
do I know what fry sauce is? I found out the hard way. Yes.
What's the hard way?
Well, it was put on something without me knowing, and
Do
I
you
was
like it?
yeah, it's not bad. It's like Thousand Island to me almost. So
Without the relish, right?
Without the relish. Yeah. So I like fry sauce.
I don't like relish.
I,
The face, so it wasn't a you.
I liked it more like I used to be a little bit bigger, so I liked it more about 60 pounds ago, but had to cut out some of the fry sauce and the fries. I love French fries too, it's hard.
Good for you.
We're working on it.
You look good.
We're trying to get cruise ready, so
Cruise.
we're working on it. Yeah, we're gonna go play on a cruise here in the next couple of months. So I do so we perform anything and everything you can do to a hair, face. We shave, we wash, we pamper. Scalp treatments is something that's been more and more common, especially here in Utah. I grew up in Philadelphia. I was born and raised in Philadelphia. The atmosphere is a lot different. It's a lot more humid back there, so it's a lot better for your skin, a lot better for your hair. Just, you know, difference of the climate. Out here, it's very dry, so scalp treatments is very popular. Basically what somebody does is they just massage some sort of a tonic. Osage is a very popular tonic. You massage it into the scalp really good. What it does is it helps relieve your hair of dry skin, rejuvenates your skin. It helps promote hair growth as well. Mainly for the scalp, though. I wouldn't use any tonic on the face. It could definitely irritate the skin a lot, so you have to be careful with that, so. So those are some of the modern day services we do. Massages usually come, massages are something that usually come as a part of like a hair wash. We do massages. With the hair scalp treatments, we do massages. But usually somebody's not gonna come to me just for a massage. I hope not. So, some of the different types of haircuts, as you know, anything you can kind of go now. You can pretty much do whatever you want. There is nothing off limits. I have people coming and asking for the comb over, obviously very popular. Mr. Cloontown over there, he kills it. Fades, I do all different types of fades on all different types of individuals, all different styles of fades. Okay, you have the short hair fade. This is a very popular style right now. This is a what is it? A racket comb with a styling curling brush that they use to get this style. This style is a slick back poppy or pompadour. Sorry, we're gotta be proper now. But this is very popular as well. Okay, this is something that'll probably never go away. As will this. This is probably a hairstyle that'll never go away. You'll always see it. I'm sure you guys see long hair, shags now. You'll even see buzz cuts, you know, 2-1 all over. Baldies, of course. So, but those are just a few different types of things that we do. Obviously, I don't know if you get down with the lingo, but now taper. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a, for those out there who get their hair cut, or if you have children that get their hair cut. Just gonna give you a little lesson. There's a difference between a fade and a taper, okay? A fade is done all the way around the head. So if you're walking to a barber shop and you want that haircut all the way around and be skin fit, that would be a fade, okay? A taper, wherever the little thing is, there we go. A taper is just a light blend on the sides and back, okay? So usually you have a thick hair here, all around, but you just want a light blend into the skin on the sides and back. So that's the difference. It's one of my most popular asked questions. People come in and sometimes will ask for a taper fade. You do need to clarify there are two completely different things in a barber world. So fun stuff, guys. I know. Be too excited, but mullets, mohawks, faux hawks. Those are, like I said, right now is the age of individuality. So you can pretty much do whatever.
What's a 0 degree?
0 degrees. So a 0 degree elevation or a blunt cut will basically be if any of either my long haired gentlemen or even my ladies, if anyone came into me and said, can you just get rid of my split ends? That would be considered 0 degree elevation because you're not really taking off length so much as you're really just clipping split ends, really just to promote hair growth. So, and obviously you have the 0 elevation versus like texture. We have layered that we do as well. So, but 0 degree would be the proper term or the book term, as I'll say, for just a split end trim. So yeah. All right, so getting other services, obviously we talked about beards and mustaches, keeping those looking fresh, all right. Something that we did, believe it or not, this is Nipsey Hussle's beard. I did not do that, but it looks good. So, and once again, lineup comes into play, how clean all the lines are. Okay, that's something that's very, very popular nowadays. People want to have that sharp look, okay? And a lineup typically is going to proceed on the outside of the head, obviously. So you want to have that cool look. One thing I love about what I do is that I do get to make people look good. Typically when people look good, they tend to feel good. Obviously, when you feel good, you usually produce better work out in public, right? You go out, you have a different attitude about yourself. The way you carry yourself is chin up, okay? You feel good. You want to show off. You kind of glow a little bit, okay? That's probably one of the best things about what I do and why I got into it. I love cutting grass when I was young. I love cutting my own grass now, but that's neither here nor there. I love cutting grass. I like taking things that were need to be transformed and transforming, right? Throughout everybody's life, they're going to need to be transformed, right? All of us at a certain point need to mature. Some of us might still need to mature. That's between yourself and yourself. But making people look good is something that I pride myself in. I take time. I don't like to rush it. Because people like to feel good, right? It starts with looking good most of the time. So that's why I do what I do for those of you out there. So, and as they say, if you do something you love, you essentially never work a day in your life. That is not true, wildly inaccurate. We'll get to that. But it helps, right? It makes it a lot easier to get out of bed every morning. That and screaming twins, but we'll get to that too. So scalp treatments, hair washing and scalp treatments, as I went over, those are just additional services that we do. Typically, those are add-ons. So usually people come in. I have from Philadelphia, I'm a Eagles fan, as they already mentioned. We have a service called the Philly Special. If you know anything about the Super Bowl from a couple of years, the Philly Special is, well, it's a football play, technically. But at our shop, our Philly Special includes everything. We do a haircut, a beard trim, face shave. We do a black mask, a wash, a scalp treatment. It includes everything you can get. It's about an hour and a half service. Most of the time, people leave feeling pampered. It's the pampered service. Okay, so that is usually when we add massages and things like that into our service. I'm telling you, you cannot book me for just a massage. I won't provide just the massage if you want me to do anything with that, but that's usually when we do massages, scalp treatments.
You can call me.
So well, you'd probably be better at it than me.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Massage, you would know.
I also have nails right now, so
Touche.
that's a whole.
I don't have nails right now, so I'm in luck.
Yeah, it's convenient. You
My
can
wife.
open your own soda cans.
Oh, that's why my wife actually do that. That makes a lot.
Oh, really?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah, so now, all right, I just gave you a rundown of what I do as far as on the barber side. Okay. Just gonna give you an idea. I'm sure you guys knew most of that. I know most of you have been to a barber or hair salon at some point in your life. But that is the barber side of it. Now, we're gonna transition to the part that, in my opinion, is more relevant for this class, right? Being a barbershop owner, wildly different than being a barber, right? What does a barbershop owner do? Well, we do a lot. First things first, I sweep hair. Unfortunately, you'd be surprised how much, and no matter how much I sweep, there is always blood there. I don't even know where it comes from. But I'll sweep and then I'll blow. I have a special blower that I like to blow, and then I'll sweep again, and there's more hair every time. So there's no way to escape it. So now, besides that, okay, this is the part that's going to come in for all of you looking to own a shop. Here are some of the things that you really need to consider when starting your own shop and when owning and operating your own shop. First things first, you got to think about managing schedules, okay? Depending on what kind of business you have, that is a top. Depending on what kind of business you have to be able to write up schedules for everybody. You got to make sure that you understand what your business needs. You've got to make sure you understand who and where you need to cover what, okay? Because that matters, trust me. Our busiest days of the week are going to be Friday and Saturday. I need to make sure that I have all of the coverage that I can have for those days, right? And it doesn't matter what it is, even if you're a fireman, let's just say, not that you start a fire company, but if you do, you know that what is going to be the busiest times that you're going to probably have to go out on it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Why? Because people are home, right? So you've got to know when you need the coverage, okay? You've got to be able to pay the shop bills. You don't want to get your lights turned off. If you need to utilize electricity, that's the last thing you could have while you're trying to operate business, right? Plus, if you don't pay your shop bills, it's probably not going to look good for your clients that are in there, okay? And that could definitely affect business. Employee payroll, okay? Employee payroll is pretty self-explanatory, but you got to make sure your employees get paid. And the truth is your employees got to be paid no matter what you have collected or haven't collected for the week. Your employees must be paid first. You have to take care of your employees. I know a lot of companies, different companies of all sorts where they don't get a check, so their employees might not get paid for the week. That's tough. you've got to be able to keep money in your account so that you can pay your employees always. And if that means that you as the business owner have to wait before you can make the purchases you want to make for yourself or for the business, then that's what you need to do as a business owner. You must respect the lives of your employees. They have families too. They're not the ones that decided to get into business. You did. They need to, if you're making an agreement to pay them from the work that they do, that needs to come first always. I'm huge on that. I'm doing payroll on my honeymoon. You got to do it. You must do it. You have to take care of your employees, and you can never miss an employee too. So you have to be able to manage your product and your product inventory. Okay, you've got to know what you have, got to know what you need. The last thing you want is for somebody coming in and asking for a product and you never have it. Okay. Number one, you can't make any money off of that. And number two, you have unhappy clients and they're going other places to get things that they should be getting from you. Right. So you got to be able to manage your inventory. You got to know what you need. You got to know what you got to sell. So marketing. Oh man, marketing. Managing your website and online SEO. Everybody knows what SEO is, right? Okay, search engine optimization. How can you be found? Okay. This is huge. Now we live in a different day and age today. All right. Most of you guys just don't go driving around looking for something. Usually you know what it is that you were looking for before you leave your house, correct? You know where you're going before you leave the house. You have it pulled up already on Google Maps. You have the directions punched in. You know where you're going. You need to make sure that in today's day and age, you're findable. You need to make sure that people can find you before they start looking, okay? If that makes sense. Which means you've got to be up, available, cropped with the information that the individual clients are looking for so that they know exactly whether or not what you're providing is what they're looking for. And they can make their mind up quickly. You got to make sure you're getting your name out there. There's a lot of free avenues. Everybody knows. I know everybody knows Facebook, Instagram. Everybody knows, what is it? Twitter, I guess, is a thing. TikTok is a new thing now, okay? I'll be honest with you, I'm terrible at social media. I'm terrible. I'm really, really bad at it. I'm terrible at it. My wife helps me. I actually have some of my young apprentices in the shop who run my social media marketing. I tell them it's part of their class, but really it's just part of helping. But it does help them understand what it's going to take for them to be able to get their name out there. So that's something that I've been working on, getting more of my work posted. I get so busy, whether it be back-to-back, or doing my teachings for the day or whatever it is that I'm doing, that sometimes I forget to post pictures. And why? It's free. That's free advertising for you guys. It's free. So utilize some of that, but then there's also avenues that you can pay for. You can pay to have yourself sponsored on Google. You can pay to move up the list. You can pay to have yourself sponsored on some of these websites. And what could be good about getting yourself sponsored is you reach people that you might not normally talk to. So that's also good. So being sponsored is not bad. I've done sponsorships before, and you will see results from it. Now, how much? Well, it's just on you, where you market to, and how much you want to invest in that, right? Now, I get asked this question about marketing, and I spend some time on marketing because it's very, very important. I get to ask this question all the time. How do you know if your marketing will work, right? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know?
You know.
Not with a new customer.
Okay, so that's how you know if it's working, right? But how do you know if it will work? And she said it correctly.
Yeah.
You don't. You have no idea. It's always a shot. I can stand out in front of a slick holding a sign, flipping a sign, affiliated barbers. Do I know if it works? No. It might work today, it might work tomorrow, it might work in a year from now. Somebody might say, I'll see this guy flipping a sign. And it just kind of reminded me, so I decided to go, right? You don't know. Marketing is always doing some research, looking at your target market, which is the individuals that you would like to do business with the most, so to speak. And then also being able to make sure that you can, I'm trying to figure out the right word to put for this. I guess making sure that you're not, why you, making sure that you're not level with everybody else, making sure that you can stand out. Why you? You got to make sure that you can stand out with marketing, whatever that is. Even if your website when you click on it, it looks like a rave. Whatever it is, you've got to make sure you stand out. Otherwise, why you? Why not McDonald's, right? So, marketing is very important, though. You never know if it's going to work. You got to try a bunch of things. The more you stand out, the more likely you are to get hits. So, and then obviously you got to deal with customer issues. That's, never going to go away. Okay. Don't have too many complaints over my 6 years that I've been in business. So don't have too many complaints. Don't have really negative stars or anything like that. I think I might have had 1 or 2 complaints ever. And yeah, sure.
I had a question. On all those things you were listing, like all of your data integration, what have been some technologies that you've been using to just make it easier or more manageable or just doable?
So that's a good question. So I use, like, for instance, we have our website Books Online, right? Booking online is very easy because what it allows is for people to be able to have access to your schedule or your calendar at any time, right? So it limits the, so interesting you asked that. So I actually just had a meeting with the gentleman on Friday, bless you, had a meeting with the gentleman on Thursday, and then we just talked today about integrating a phone system into my barbershop. We get a lot of phone calls all the time. A lot of clients, a lot of nonsense. Like, I'm talking your Google listing, I'm talking political calls. There was a famous nonsense call that was going around a long time ago, a little while ago. We constantly get them, constantly, nonstop. This service, what it's supposed to do is the answer machine service. So it answers the phone. If you're looking to book an appointment, it immediately directs you to the website. You press 1, it sends you a text message. You click on the link in your text message, and it literally walks you through booking online. If you would like to speak to someone in the office, you can just simply ask, hey, can I speak with someone in the shop? And then it'll bring you over to us. But what it does is it takes, first of all, it makes it so that not only do I not have to be here in order for us to still be able to collect clients and build business, because if it's after hours and someone calls and they can't get to me, normally, if they can't get to me, nobody answers, they may just move on, call a different shop. Now, it still answers, they can go online, they can still book an appointment. So it can actually literally save clients that I might not be able to get when we're not in the shop, right? Vice versa, when we're in the shop, what it also allows for us to do is to not have to stop cutting hair to answer a phone call for somebody who's looking to book an appointment when they have to go online and book an appointment anyway, right? So those are some of the technologies that make business more efficient. We can catch business after hours, during hours, less time I have to spend away from my clients, okay? Because nobody likes that. And the more time I spend away from my clients, potential it is for me to get behind, right? And now you're messing with people's time. So that was a great question. But those are some of the technologies that we're using my shop to being able to make life a little bit easier to help us grow, maybe efficient. So go ahead.
What about the payroll? Because I know a lot of barbers just you pay them like you have 5 barbers and each one is the ones that you pay. So you pay an extra money to those barbers you have, or that's the only you pay an extra, or they just get the money from the customer they have?
So good question. So there's a few different types of ways to do payroll. So that's kind of hitting it right on the nose. In the barber industry specifically, there's a few different types of ways. You can do a booth rent. A booth rent is literally you have your own clientele. You walk in, you pay a certain amount per month or per week, however you set it up. And then you just manage your own clients. If you get walk-ins, anybody else that is in addition to that, doesn't really matter. They're all you pay them one set amount weekly or monthly. So that's one option. The other option is you can be under commission base. Commission base is really good for barbers that are just starting out, because if you don't have your own clientele, then you don't want to just be giving away booth rent, losing money, if you can assure that you're going to be able to make that up by the clients that you currently have under your, your own nest. So those are two different types of ways to get paid. Then you can do both. If you are going into a shop that's relatively busy, I had someone who's doing that. I have each. I have some that are on booth rent, some that are commission. I've got some young barbers, I've got some apprentice. So there's a few different ways that we set it up, but let's say you've got a couple of clients, but not enough to necessarily pay the full booth rent amount. Well, we might do a booth rent and a commission. So you pay this amount for the clients you do have, and then for any additional clients you do, it's a percentage. So those are the different ways. If you've been a barber for a while, you want to do booth rent. It's the best way, because you can make your booth rent for the week in a day, if you or more. So if you're new, once again, you want to do probably commission, because you don't want to put yourself out. You know what I mean? And then obviously, if you've got some clients, maybe if you transition from one shop to another and you're just kind of starting again, that's when you might want to do half and half. So you're not losing. So it's a good question. It's a great question. So, and it's not always like that. Obviously, if you're working a job where you get paid a salary or an hourly wage, you won't have to worry about booth rent or percentage or anything like that. But this is closer to it's commission, just like a commission job. So, but yeah, that was a great question. All right. Now we talked about what does it take to stay busy, okay, and to start a business, okay. Well, first things first, you have to have a good idea. Okay, you really can't start a business off of nothing. If you can, please let me know. I'd like to take advantage of that opportunity as well. Okay. Secondly, and most importantly, does anybody know what you need to start a business?
Money.
Money.
Patience.
Patience. Who said patience? Yes, a lot of patience. Oops, sorry.
You're like, why isn't this working?
I'm gonna click something. I'm not. It's not a plus. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Money. Obviously, it's the biggest one here. It doesn't matter what kind of idea you have. If you don't have any money, it's going to be very, very hard to start a business. It doesn't have to be your money, but it has to be money. Most people start a business with the bank's money, lenders or investors. I was lucky. Most of the money that I was able to raise was from myself, just saving. And then Daddy did help me out just a little bit though, not too much. If you ever get to see this, Dad, just a little bit, man. But you definitely have to have money, all right, and you've got to be good with money too. Realistically, if you want to be able to start, own, operate a business, and hard work pays off. Obviously, you've got to be able to make that money work for you, and you've got to work for it. Okay. This is a tough one because you essentially, unless you got it like that, you have to put all of yourself into these. You have to put all of these into the business, all of your money and all of your hard work. You may or may not make a penny when you start, a dime. You might not make a dime for a month. You have to be prepared for that. And a lot of people don't get that. They spend all this money on starting a business, and then they're like, boom, doors open. oh no, we don't have any clients. We don't have any, we haven't made any sales. What are we gonna do? You should have thought about that before you open your business. I'd say 6 months is a safety net. 6 months of you starting your business, you should plan on not making a dime for 6 months. Now, you probably will, okay? You probably will, but if you're prepared for 6 months, then what it means is you'll be able to pay all your bills stress-free sort of. You'll be able to pay all your bills, you'll be able to manage the business without having to worry about making a profit. That is how I set up my barbershop. I had 6 months worth of home bills and shop bills so that if I didn't make a penny, I knew that I'd be okay for 6 months, okay? And then if you think about it, if you get rolling in month 2, well, then you're always 4 months ahead, right? So it's a good practice to have for those individuals. So hard work does pay off. Running your own business is harder than hard work, though. It's your baby, right? It's just like anything else. You always want to see it growing. You always want to see it doing the best it can. You love it. And unfortunately, just like your children, not everybody's going to love it like you do, okay? Yeah, I've been blessed with 4 kids. I had my oldest. We grew up and matured a little bit, and we had another. And my wife, that was the polite word, politely interested me in having one more kid, and it turned out to be twins. So babysitting is very hard for us. We don't do anything. We don't go anywhere. We don't have very much family here either, so it gets a little difficult sometimes for us. But you've got to treat it just like your kids. Okay, you've got to raise it. You've got to start from scratch, essentially, just like your children. So those are the things that you're going to need to start a business. You're going to need a good idea. You're going to need plenty of money. Another reason why you're going to need some money is because there's going to be things that pop up in your business that you are not prepared for. There's going to be, oh, this person's got to get licensed for this, and the city needs to get paid, and the health department, and food handlers, and everybody and their mom needs to get paid. The building you're in, everyone needs to get paid. So you've got to make sure you've got an abundance of extra flow. Capital is what they call your startup money, your startup capital. You're going to need to make sure you have a good amount of extra capital so that you can be prepared for any of those issues that pop up that you were not ready for. Okay, because they will happen. They always happen. It's here. You can move forward and let's see. There we go. Perfect. So, and we've started to kind of go over this. So, other things to kind of consider. How does one handle a lease agreement? Obviously, if your business requires a physical location, right? If it's not something you can do from home, how do you handle a lease agreement? I suggest having legal representation. It is worth paying a lawyer and an accountant because they should really work together. Lawyer knows the terminology, and accountant knows the numbers. I had both. I was blessed with both. I have lawyers and accountants in my family that were able to overlook this. You know what? Even with that, there were still things we missed that if we had known a little bit differently, we would have constructed a little bit better in our favor. So comb through your lease yourself with legal representation. Comb through this. I can't tell you enough, section by section, so that you can try to eliminate as many errors as you can. Any lease agreement that you're entering into, they are not doing it for you, I promise. So it might sound good, but the lease is not going to be designed for your best interest. It's going to be designed for theirs. So you must make sure that you get with legal representation and make sure that you comb through your leases as best as you can. So you make it favor you, okay? For instance, I'll just give you a quick example. I made it so that, if I needed to, I get a 15-day gracing period each month when paying my lease, if I needed to. I made it so that I could pay with checks no matter what. I made it so that after my first term ended, so I just started my second lease. After my first term ended, I got 2 additional 5-year terms that I could do where they could not raise market value other than what the fair market value was. So they couldn't just increase my rates on their own if they wanted to. They tried. We got new management came in, they tried. I told them to refer to this section of the lease agreement, and they sent back the 3% fair market value increase, and that's all they could do. So those are just an idea of some of the things that you can do, okay? We already talked about what to do if you have no sales. Obviously, you've got to prepare yourself, okay? We talked about, we haven't talked about what type of protection you should have. You must have insurance for your business. Just like a car, just like your house, okay? Have insurance, okay? So why? Because you're gonna wanna make sure that if anything happens, if somebody drives a car through the front of your business, you wanna make sure that you're properly insured, right? So pretty cut and dry. I believe it's called business interruption insurance, but that's what you're gonna wanna have, right? And we already talked about this. How can you ensure that your business will be successful? Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot. But you can set some goals and work on best practices. Okay, so those are things that you can do. Other than that, one last thing I'll leave you guys with when getting ready for a business, you need to be able to plan for the future. Why? Because you're never going to be able to keep up with the social changes. Okay. This is the social changes of hairdos over the years. Okay, some of the famous ladies. All right, some of the different hairstyles. This guy, who I don't really like, but I was told to put it in anyway. So, and then the beads. Okay, you've got to be able to adapt. Okay, which is why I put this in here. And it's not just about haircut. It's about anything you want to do. If you want to cut hair, great. If you want to be a dancer, if you want to be a lawyer. Whatever you do, you know that the laws are going to change. Dance styles are going to change. Hairstyles are going to change. If you want to be a clothing designer, clothing styles are going to change. You must be adaptable. You must be able to change with the times. Otherwise, your business will be very short-lived, okay? Other reasons. Last time I did this, last few times I did this, I know we had some changes in our society, okay? Some of those changes, face masks. Okay, face masks. I think last time I was here, we were just out of the face mask issue, but you never know when the health department is going to come in and create another regulation for barbers, whether it be additional hours for shaving, less, whatever it could be. You know, they might require people who braid or do dreads to now go get licensed. Whatever that may be, you must be prepared for the changes that are going to come, whether it be the health department, the CDC, or other governing bodies. We used to be able to, the health department used to not require us to renew our license, but every other year. Now they require every year. The fee used to be like $87. Now it's like $250. So you must understand things are going to change, okay? You need to be able to plan for the future, and you need to be able to understand what can you do. Well, you can pay attention to trends, okay? Pay attention to your social media. Pay attention to the things that are changing in the world. Pay attention to the styles that are changing. If something happens in the market that is a direct reflection of your business, pay attention to that, because that could affect your business. When they made us do face masks, I lost a lot of money because I couldn't do beards. That was really detrimental as a business for us. So you've got to be able to know what you can do and how you can do it to stay above the trends, okay? And lastly, save that money, okay? Because if anything happens, God forbid, I'll tell you guys the truth. I'm not going to run a barbershop for forever. I'm not going to do it. It's not, all right? It's great, but I'll probably end up moving on. I'll probably still cut hair, but I'll probably end up selling my business or something of that nature. Why, you ask? Well, because I've got something going on with coaching that I like. So it might be something that I could transition to in the next 5 years or so. I still got some years left in it, so I'm not going anywhere soon. But save your money, because you might not want to be in business for yourself always. Running a business is hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard. It's very hard. It's rewarding, but it's hard. You're never off. Never. I was at a wedding a couple years ago. We're having issues with payment, the payment processing machine. And I'm like, you know, getting ready to putt for birdie, you know what I mean? I'm on a golf course, I'm not even paying attention. You're never off. You're never off. So those are the joys of running a business is yeah, there's endless possibilities of profitability and success. But there's also endless work, all right? You're never off. So you got to learn how to manage the two. Okay. That's what I do as a barber shop owner and a business owner. These are some of the things that I've believed have helped me be successful throughout the years. And I'm sure there's things that I don't have up there, but I do believe if you pay attention to some of these key details, each and every last one of you, with business or even how you just approach work, it doesn't even have to be business, just how you approach work, I believe you have the ability to be successful. And we all want to be successful. So thank you so very much for having me. Appreciate all of you. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Any questions?
I have a quick question, might be applicable to potential small business owners. So I know these guys are looking to go, but real quick. As somebody who provides a service, I'm also assuming you sell product.
Correct.
How do you manage what you want to sell to people versus what people want to buy related to your inventory? How do you go about thinking about that?
That's a great question too. You can't make it personal. Business, you can't make it too personal. It can't be about what you want, right? Because your style might not be everybody's style. So if you're in business, you've got to pay attention mainly to what the client wants. I use products that I like in the shop, right? For instance, I use a certain type of hair gel or texture powder or something of that nature. And I'll use these products that I like. If the clients like them, then we'll keep them. If they don't like them, and if they don't ask for them, then I won't go out to my distributor and ask for a case of them because the clients really didn't respond very well to that. I might like it, but I don't have their hair. I don't have their style. I don't have their desire. So you got to keep it focused to what the client wants. That's always going to be the most important. So yeah, great question. So did we have any other questions?
On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you recommend, like 5 being the highest? How much would you recommend someone to start their own business while they're still in college?
Yeah, well, that would depend on what type of individual you are. If you are that type of individual that doesn't mind working hard, putting in those hours to potentially succeed or to succeed and to achieve greatness, if you don't mind doing those things, then 5, go do it, you know. But if you're the individual that likes to have, because you have to think of everything when you're a business owner, you have to come up with the structure, you have to come up with the shop rules, you have to come up with the way you want business to operate. If you're someone who's creative, then do it. If you're someone that it's not really good for you, you need someone to come and give you structure, you need someone to provide for you a sort of a foundation. Starting a business might not be the best thing for you. So I might recommend a 1 for somebody like that, because you have to create your own structure. You have to be your own discipline. When I was starting my shop, nobody told me to get up and go work on my shop every day. But I was there at 8 a.m. every day working on my shop. You see what I mean? And I wasn't getting paid for it at the time either. So you've got to be able to see long-term and see the vision of the future. And if you can do that, then I'll recommend a 5. But if you can't, it's not something for you. So, go ahead.
And business different from village here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You figure a lot of people in Philadelphia, that's wonderful too, now that I'm thinking about it. A lot of people in Philadelphia, they like getting your haircut is like a religion in a major city like that. So, I know, I have so many people that I know that get their haircut weekly in a city like that, and they get everything. They get the enhancements, the dye, everything, and they do it weekly. So, whereas out here, it's catching on a little bit more, but not quite so much. It's a little bit different. The styles, what kind of haircuts they want.
Like culture
Right.
of the barbershop is different too.
You won't see very many comb overs back east. That's not the type of hairstyle they get. You know what I mean? They either get, they're either gonna have longer hair, or it's usually gonna be shorter, cleaner cut, lined up, you know what I mean? Everybody sort of tends to go toward that style more. So the styles are completely different. But I like it because it makes me more diverse. I can kind of do everything. So, but yeah, that definitely will matter where you're at.
Do you plan on bringing, people like who braid hair into your shop? Or-
But I have a braider.
Oh, you do?
Yep, I do. She's been doing hair for like 20 years. She's been braiding. She does braids, dreads, sew-ins,
Okay.
all different sorts of.
Okay, why I ask is because it's not something very often out here.
Mhm.
And with the culture and like diversity changing out here in Salt Lake City, now I know where to, I'd be like, oh yeah, I know, Barbara, you can go head over there because, it's not the normal thing out here, you know what I mean?
So that's very true.
Yeah.
That is a good and a bad thing for our shop, specifically because we're so diverse, because things are happening where a lot of diversity is coming. My shop, I personally get busier and busier because of that, because of the diversity. People come out here and they say, Philly, oh, my shop spelled Philly, like as in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
so it's a Philly. And people say Philly, like Philadelphia, oh man, like I gotta come check your shop
Yeah.
out. So it helps being in a shop like mine to be able to catch some of this diversity as we change.
Oh, yeah.
But it definitely matters. The more diverse you are, the more clients you'll be able to keep, and sew-ins, braids, it's
Yeah.
very popular from everyone nowadays.
Well, that's great to know, but, cause I mean, like I said, it's on, social media and stuff, and that was an issue. Not
Yeah.
being able to find a shop that, narrowed in on that specific.
And we get calls about that too. We get a lot of calls. Hey, I hear you do braids at your shop. I can't find a shop. We get people
Yeah.
frantically, so. But it's definitely catching on. I'm seeing more and more of it here in our state.
I like to do braids, I just couldn't find anywhere to like actually braid, braid, so I was having to do it outside the shop. Yeah.
Which most people do.
Yeah,
So that's how I usually go, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
oh, nice, well, that's nice to know,
So, yeah, thank
and
you.
I know I can refer them to your shop too.
Yeah, come, we're right down the road, right in the shopping center. So if you know where the FedEx is in the shopping center, you can come see us anytime.